In this bulletin, the United Nations backs remanufacturing, Cartridge World's big boss says the conditions are ripe for growth, and more fake cartridges seized, this time in Dubai and China.
From across the planet, Recycling Times keeps you in touch with the latest computer printing news.
Hello, I'm David Gibbons and here is the news. The United Nations has declared remanufacturing is good for the environment and the original manufacturers or OEMs are a major obstacle. In a report called Green Economy and Trade, a section on remanufacturing highlights its increasing environmental significance in some global regions such as China and Africa. The UN Environment Programme report also says remanufacturing operations worldwide are already saving approximately 10.7 million barrels of oil each year. The UN says remanufacturers need to work actively with the OEMs to create better end-of-life solutions and save costs. The chairman of the largest cartridge franchise in the world says there is still a lot of room for growth. According to the Cartridge World boss Rod Young, growth will take place in all regions, particularly those in emerging economies. Young says in Malaysia, for example, the original printer manufacturers or OEMs enjoy 80% of the consumables market. But the 8 Cartridge World stores there have less than 1%. Cartridge World plans to open 24 more stores in the next 3 years, focusing mainly in the Klang Valley. And the franchise plans to grow 5 times in the US with 2,500 stores by 2018.
We plan to have 30 stores here in the Klang Valley around Kuala Lumpur and ultimately have over 100 stores throughout Malaysia.
Printer manufacturer Lexmark continues to chase cartridge remanufacturers and the collectors of empty cartridges to sue them for infringing their patents. And all those companies Lexmark has named or plans to name are looking for a way out. And according to Actionable Intelligence, some have settled. I go to Actionable Intelligence's Charles Brewer. Charlie, thanks for joining us. What is the state of play? It seems Lexmark has closed some suits, moved others, and yet actively chasing others again. Can you give us a quick summary?
Absolutely. It's a very active case right now, David. The Lexmark actually named additional defendants to the case back at the end of April, and so there are 31 new companies that have been added. In addition to that, 36 companies have settled, and so I think that the number of companies that are involved now are numerous. The other thing that's happened is that Lexmark is looking for an extension until September, so presumably we're going to see even more companies added over the course of the summer as the case plays out.
So tell me, Charlie, with Lexmark being so proactive in the courts, is this helping them? I mean, is it giving them a return on their bottom line?
Well, certainly not in their supply sale. As we look at their laser cartridge sale over the last 5 consecutive quarters, in those quarters where they've actually mentioned laser sales, they've been down. There are a couple of quarters where they just talk about supply sales, and those have been down as well. So it looks like it hasn't helped them. It's ironic because the year before they filed the suit, they had a banner year in laser sales. They actually had a record year for 2011. So, but since they filed the suit, no, it has not helped them.
Thanks, Charlie. Don't go away, by the way. I have another question coming up for you in a minute. And you can read more from Charles Brewer on Lexmark's return on investment in the New Look News and Views Recycling Times magazine. All makers of desktop printers, or OEMs, are clamping down on the illegal trade of fake cartridges. More news this week as Xerox worked with police in Dubai to seize 55,000 counterfeit boxed printer cartridges. Xerox claims the fakes were headed for the United States, Germany, Netherlands, Turkey, Russia, Brazil and South America. Consumers are urged to look for the holographic security label when purchasing Xerox products. And Chinese police have also made separate arrests in Beijing and in the Fujian province. In one case, aftermarket labelling on fake products was removed just before delivery, leaving the OEM trademarks and packaging intact. And in another story, 3 suspects have been arrested, allegedly with $1.6 million worth of counterfeit HP and Canon cartridges. Charlie Brewer from Actionable Intelligence is still online. What is it with all these fake cartridges popping up in news stories almost every week? Are the OEMs becoming more proactive, or is there just more illegal activity taking place?
Well, I think the answer to both questions is yes. The OEMs are much more active now using the courts than they've ever been before. And there's also more illegal and counterfeit and infringing activity going on. With that said, however, Xerox has a legacy of finding counterfeit products that's been going on for years, going back to the old analog machines. So for Xerox, it really is nothing new. I think what is very new is all the new plastic and new build cartridges that we're finding, and that this stuff is starting to show up in counterfeit packages as well is not surprising. So I would expect to see more lawsuits, and I would expect to see more infringing product.
And in brief, Japan continues to be a bright spot in the worldwide large format printer market, selling more of them than the same time last year. Research group IDC say this is the 5th quarter in a row where more printers and more profits have been made in Japan. Epson have launched their new compact LX350 dot matrix printers, which hardly use any power in East Africa. The printers meet the needs of business people wanting to save money in the emerging markets like the Sub-Sahara. And the boss of a large cartridge component supply business says the secret to his success in dismal times is listening to customers. Nestor Saporiti says he can lower the costs of his global Uninet network by hiring local people. And you can read more in this month's New Look News and Views magazine with Uninet's Nestor Saporiti on the front cover. Well, those were the biggest stories in printer and consumable news this week. See you again next week. I'm David Gibbons.